Hey, what's going on everyone? It's Joe from Gadgetry Tech, and in today's video I'm going to talk about a new headset from Razer, and it is the BlackShark V3 Pro. It's replacing the older V2 Pro 2023 edition, which was an upgrade over the original V2 Pro. There are a ton of changes with this headset. This retails for $250, so the price has increased with the new model release. However, when I start unpacking all the features that this thing has, I think the price increase is pretty reasonable here, especially when you compare it to the competition. So before I get any further, Razer did send these headsets to me for review in advance, which is great because I got to spend quite a bit of time with it. It won't affect what I say about it. They didn't pay me for making this video, and I don't use any special affiliate links for marketing purposes or anything like that. So let's just get right to why I am so excited about the BlackShark V3. One is the feature set, because this is the best example I can think of when a brand listens to the market and what gamers or consumers want. So let's start with just going down the list. So the headset has onboard EQ. You can customize it. You have browsable EQ presets that work on PC, on the Xbox app, because you can install the Razer app to customize your headset there, and on the mobile app. So you can customize it. Not only can you pick from a variety of presets, including esports pro-tuned ones, you can even set your own onboard EQ settings to your own personal preference, save that to the headset, and still toggle whether you're on console or PC. What's new for a feature set is active noise cancellation, and I'm pleased to say it worked awesome in my situation because one of my two air conditioning units failed recently. I live in the Southwest, it's been hot as hell, so I had to use a portable AC unit, and that was running basically 24/7, super noisy in here. And as a result, I still wanted to play some games at night, but it's really hard to hear the games over all of that noise. And I like the ability of having a wireless headset for the mic and the convenience with talking to friends. So this guy comes along right at the perfect time. It's never a good time to lose AC, but for this, it blocked out the majority of that AC noise, which is amazing. And this will help for a variety of use cases as well. It just helps reduce your ambient sounds in your room, or if you're out and about traveling, because you still get a detachable mic. There's no like built-in mic for Bluetooth that I'm aware of. It doesn't work without the boom, but drowning out all that noise is great. Now the ANC wasn't perfect. If you are dead silent, there is going to be a little bit of a white noise hiss. That's common with a lot of headphones and headsets for ANC. This includes Bose and Sony. That's not all gone. However, the other thing that I notice is if the room is dead quiet and you're not listening to any content, you have a little bit of a thumpy rumble sensation to it. I can actually pick up my own heartbeat louder because the internal mic is kind of amplifying and trying to cancel out that sound. So it works really well, but it's not perfect, and your mileage may vary. You can set the ANC to 4 different levels, including off, so you can always disable it if you don't like it, but it's nice that they have that feature. They also added simultaneous Bluetooth, which is a huge win. You don't have to use Bluetooth if you don't want to, and you can even force it to not be simultaneous by toggling through the modes. You can have it do just 2.4 mode, which is the dongle connection, we'll get into that, or just Bluetooth, or simultaneous. So it's not like you're stuck with it, and it works flawlessly. The other thing I want to say on the note of Bluetooth, in Razer Synops, if you get a call, you can set in your settings, and this also applies on Xbox and your mobile app. You can have it so it either does nothing to your game audio, so you still hear the game audio at full blast. You can have it reduce the game audio or mute the game audio entirely, so it's easier for you to focus on your conversation. When you answer a call, the microphone gets routed to your mobile call through Bluetooth, and it will disable the mic in game so people won't hear what you're saying if you're having a private conversation with someone. They also added built-in game-to-chat mix, which works on Windows and Xbox. Check this out. And it's a reassignable wheel. You can assign this wheel to do microphone side tone level to hear yourself speak, which is the default behavior if you buy the PlayStation variant. However, on the Xbox and PC variant, this is defaulted to game-to-chat mix. You don't have to have any special software installed by Razer, so you don't need Synops for game-to-chat mix to work. On Windows, you will see 2 separate audio devices, so you can route your audio, like all of your game audio, to one, and maybe you just want a music on the other, or Discord, or whatever it is, and you can easily adjust the volume, so it's super convenient. Now, game-to-chat mix will not work on PlayStation. That's a PlayStation thing. You can manually adjust game-to-chat mix through the PlayStation UI, but there's no third-party headset that has game-to-chat mix. It's not really Razer's fault. It's Microsoft. We can all write them a nice stern letter and see if they ever change their mind. I am pleased to say that Razer also added full cross-platform compatibility, so if you purchase the Xbox version, which has this wonderful green stitching, the PlayStation version has blue, and the PC version has black. The Xbox version, which even has a different dongle, which is kind of cool, little attention to detail. So the dongles look the same, and on the back you still see a USB-C input, but on the Xbox version there is a switch for Xbox mode and then USB. You can see even the little green foot on the Xbox version. If you switch it to USB mode, the Xbox version still works on PlayStation, no problem. So you could just buy the Xbox version if you're okay with the green stitching and use it on all 3 platforms. Because it has Bluetooth support, you can even use that on additional platforms like tablets and mobile devices or a Nintendo Switch. Now, maybe you want even more platform support. Well, it has 3.5mm analog connection support as well. There's no native 3.5mm port on the bottom, so if you read the spec sheet, you get it looking for analog. There's a cable in the box that plugs into the USB-C port, analog connection, if I can hold it, to your controller, to a laptop, or if the batteries die, you have a backup option. This is TRRS, so it will pass through the microphone through this cable. There's no volume control with this. You have to use your external source to control volume because your headset has to be turned off for the analog connection to work, which means no advanced features, no ANC, and no EQ profiles. The only bummer is it does not merge. Like if you turn this on, you still can't use analog, so there's no way to hook this up for like mic monitoring if you have a Go XLR or something where you're using it for streaming. You can't use it all simultaneously. This would have been like killer if they added that as well, because a lot of people want a high-end headset that still has that feature, but hey, this is still a pretty good addition to have. They even added swappable ear plates, which I know is what everyone's been asking for. Check this out. You can pop these guys off. Now, I'm kind of being a little sarcastic, but there's some merit to this and why I still think this is cool. They have esports teams. They're going to have different plates available. There's already a variety that's going to be coming out at launch. Maybe they'll add more. In my opinion, what's kind of cool is you can always buy any set of plates and customize it, because if you have backup and swappable plates, well, maybe you want to paint it and make it your own. This is a little bit bold for me. I kind of like the more understated look. If you switch it out on this side, this is the real reason why I'm excited about swappable plates, because they didn't have to do this. This screw exposes the battery. It has a user serviceable battery. Technically, if you had the tools and patience, the old BlackShark was user serviceable as well, but it was a little bit more work to actually get to the battery. This is not a hot swap battery, but it's easy to remove. You just pop this cover off with a single Phillips here. It's actually one more down at the bottom. But when you pop it off, it seems to use the exact same battery in the old Razer BlackShark, because I took this apart, and when I looked at the part number, I got the same battery as the older BlackShark. On the note of battery life, they rated it about 70 hours on PC mode, and for some reason 45 on console mode. I'm not sure why that is, because I think the 70 is a tad optimistic. Just, I could be wrong and it might change, but the Synop software showed a faster battery rundown than I expected for a 70-hour battery life. I still think you're going to get a very large amount of battery life, but it's not like HyperX level where you get 120 to 300 hours. And even if it does wear out, it's nice to see that you can replace the batteries as well. The ear pads are also user serviceable. They basically just snap right off. It's pretty easy to pull out. This is the protective cover, because this is glued, by the way, but you can kind of see the driver, which is a 50mm biocellulose driver, and it's their new Triforce driver technology. Now, on the note of the biocellulose, this isn't the first time they used it. The Razer Barracuda Pro also used biocellulose, and I wasn't a huge fan of the chassis or the microphone performance of this, but this had active noise cancellation. It was really good if you didn't really need a good mic and you just wanted Bluetooth for a mix of mobile device use, like on an iPhone, for example, because that was one of the earlier headsets that had an AAC protocol. In case you had an Apple device, you could take advantage of higher quality sound. So overall, I'm pretty pleased with the feature set here, and as you can tell, because it's user serviceable, it bodes really well for long-term ownership and serviceability, so that's pretty sweet. Now, they also improved comfort. They made the clamp force slightly weaker than the older BlackShark. It's about a 20% reduction in clamp force, which means even with the comparable weight, you can wear these for quite a long period of time. These are a little bit heavier because they have more stuff going on with them, but it's extremely comfortable to wear. You still have that breathable knit or like sport fabric material, which I like. And you also get angled baffles now, which means the cover, like for the driver, that's called the baffle. It's tilted back, so it's deeper on the back part of the ear. And as a result, the new BlackShark also has more ear clearance, so no more ears kissing the baffle. You could still touch if you have larger ears, But honestly, this is pretty nice to have more depth even with active noise cancellation being added. And this is still padded in here in the baffles. So if your ears are touching a little bit, you're not hitting as hard surface either. They also improved the overall durability and robustness. This is like the way the yokes telescope, but these rods are thicker than the outgoing model. It's more durable, and you get a 15-degree rotation in each direction. Not as easy to wear around your neck because they won't turn all the way to lay flat. But overall, I've been really happy with the comfort of these. That light clamp force, deeper pads, and frankly, just the whole build with like the thicker headband on top. I can wear this for a long period of time. The pad material is a great choice. To still have active noise cancellation with a breathable fabric is great, so I'm really glad that they didn't switch to a leatherette just to get a better seal or ANC noise performance. So I like to do a test called the toilet test because frankly I think it's more fun to say than range test. And the dongle here is a pretty exceptional piece of technology for two reasons. One, they have the lowest latency of any gaming headset right now, according to them. I can't validate this. They claim 10 milliseconds of latency, which is an even bigger improvement over their older model. And they showed charts when I got some press materials from them that compared it to other manufacturers. I'm not going to list those numbers because I can't test it myself, and God forbid anything is inaccurate. I wouldn't want to be spreading misinformation. However, there is a toggle in Razer Synops for ultra low latency mode. Just to let you know, the average latency on a high performance headset is 30 to 50 milliseconds. That I do know, and independent tests have shown headsets like Turtle Beach getting 50 to 60 milliseconds, some SteelSeries products getting anywhere from 20 to 40 milliseconds, and the same thing applies with Logitech. So those are through independent tests. They're claiming up to 10 or down to 10. And when you do this, when you enable ultra low latency mode, usually when you trade off higher performing latency, you get lower bandwidth and reduced range. So you don't always want to use that unless you need to. So naturally I put it in ultra low latency mode, and I wanted to see how far I could go. This is a long-winded spiel to get into the range, but that's all important because I still got over 50 feet consistently in ultra low latency mode. I also didn't notice any real fidelity change on sound quality either, which is a pretty remarkable piece of performance to have that latency and sound quality. Now, I switched off ultra low latency mode and I kept walking, and I got over 70 feet. And this is just with the transmitter sitting on top of my desk. It was elevated like 5 inches off my desk, and I went through about 3 or 4 walls once I hit the 70-foot mark. That is remarkable performance. It's one of the best performing wireless ranges I've ever tested. And that will lead me to the microphone. And this is what the microphone sounds like on the new Blackshark V3 Pro. I actually think this isn't quite as good out of the box as the older Blackshark V2 Pro 2023 edition, which is interesting because they switched to a larger capsule to have a warmer, better sound quality overall. But I also enabled the microphone noise cancellation feature, and that is set to 45. This setting alone is my favorite one of all of the mic enhancements because it doesn't have an overly aggressive clipping issue. I can still talk to my friends really clearly, but it gets rid of a lot of background noise like fan noise, greatly reduces keyboard typing sound. So to me, that's like the perfect combo. A medium setting with the microphone noise cancellation, some custom EQ, and you have an amazing mic. And just for a quick comparison, this is the Razer BlackShark V2 Pro 2023 edition. The microphone's pretty damn amazing on this one, but I do notice that the microphone side tone is a little bit more delayed, at least on mine, if I'm comparing apples to apples. The side tone on the V3 is pretty much real time. A little bit more robotic sounding, but I'd much rather have the real time. And it also gets very loud. And I'm pleased to say that on the older or the new Blackshark V3 Pro, you can have active noise cancellation turned on and still turn on side tone. And if you enable the mic noise cancellation on side tone, it still does a good job of blocking out most environment sounds, but you'll still be able to hear yourself speak a little bit, so you're not always shouting. And it's kind of nice because it's a quick way of knowing if you're muted or not too. So this is what the microphones sound like in comparison to each other. Moving into sound quality, there's a lot of improvements here as well. It's tuned better than the older Blackshark. So not only do you have newer drivers that are promising to be more clear, the default tuning out of the box to me is a more enjoyable experience. You still get a lot of bass. It's still that typical immersive Razer bass, at least on the default EQ profile. But I do want to point out that if you enable or disable active noise cancellation, it will change the bass tuning a little bit. This is very common with anything that uses active noise cancellation, even travel headphones. This is important to note because if you're making your own EQ profiles, you want to accommodate or at least consider that ANC is affecting your bass tuning just a little bit. So make sure that if you're doing your own EQ that you're basing it off the correct measurement. And I have links in the description below to my Squiglink site so you can compare this frequency response to many others. So my biggest issues I have out of the box with the default profile is the scoop at 2000 Hertz is quite egregious, and it's also followed by more treble like between 4 and 8000 Hertz. So I made my own EQ profile. Here's that EQ now. To me, I think it's just a perfect blend of everyday use. The game-specific ones can still be helpful, so you can always make your own game presets, but try this EQ out because I tuned it more for just general media consumption, meaning a huge variety of games, but also listening to music. And the last thing I want to point out on the measurement side is the channel matching is excellent with this, which means it'll help with imaging performance, and that'll lead me into the subjective side in a second, but it's really nice to see that the left and right channel balance is basically the exact same thing. It really helps with pinpointing what audio cues you're trying to understand. And that leads me into subjective sound quality, and there's a lot to like here because the new drivers, marketing or not, are more clear than the older Blackshark. The older Blackshark wasn't bad. A lot of people still liked it. It wasn't amazing, and thankfully EQ fixed it. But even if they were tuned to sound the exact same way purely on a frequency response side, the new one has less distortion. It sounds more clear. It's not going to give you the same bass impact and slam that you get on the Odyssey Maxwell or the Astro A50X, or if you're looking for a $250 price range with a lot of bass, the Logitech G Pro X2 with the graphene drivers has a lot of bass. I don't like the tuning of the mid-range on the G Pro X2. I'd actually rather listen to this. Those are just more bass forward. Now, there are a couple others out there just to make some quick comparisons because it really is important to understand all this. The HyperX, the new Cloud 3S that just came out, has amazing tuning for music. To me, this performed better in FPS and on the gaming side. This is the first thing that jumped out. Whatever they did with the driver design, the baffle placement, the angle, the depth of the pad, the cup design inside, all of these things can impact your sound quality beyond just measurements. And this just seems to image really, really wide. It is hugely noticeable in racing games. It's very noticeable in immersive gaming where you want more of your wider environmental sounds. And on FPS, it was good enough where I still felt very competitive. And then when I dialed in custom EQ, it got even better. This is just a very wide sounding headset, even if you tune down some of the treble, which can typically make things sound wider at the expense of blasting your ears with treble. It does just an amazing job on the imaging and expanse side of things. It doesn't sound congested or too centered or thick on your head. Huge improvement over their older stuff that sounded a little bit muddy to me and lacked some detail. So I'm really pleased to see that. Even in analog mode, when I did this on 2.5, I hooked it up to a like $3,000 amp just to try it. It sounded really good. It got really clear. So I'm pleased to say that even without any EQ, because that's in passive mode, we're bypassing all of the DSP built in that changes the sound. It was still tuned pretty well out of the box. So Razer did a really good job at, like I said, not only adding all of these other features that we wanted, but they still stuck to the fundamental importance of what a headset should be, and that's it should sound good. Again, it's not a bass monster, but I think it's just a really good jack of all trades sound profile. Now, I mentioned the active noise cancellation before, and on that note, when you have a loud environment, even if this is tuned well or not, if you're competing with background sounds, that will make you less competitive because let's say your PC fan or an AC unit is operating at like 50 decibels in your room. The headset might be playing a footstep at 40 decibels because the game engine's telling it this is where the footstep should be. But until it crosses that 50 decibel threshold, you're not going to hear that well. It's very hard to pick up. It makes you less competitive. Now, when you have noise cancellation that makes your 50 decibel AC unit down to 35, let's say, 38 decibels, that's pretty quiet, but I'm just giving you a ballpark example. Now, all of a sudden, the footsteps stand out more clear. And this is the benefit of having ANC when you need it. That's a huge selling point to me. The AceZone Ablaze is $200, has parametric EQ, which I love, lacks some of the features this has, but it's the only headset close to this price range with good active noise cancellation. So if that's the only thing that's important to you, that's another one to consider. I'll be doing a roundup where I talk about all of these, but you can always turn it off if you don't need all that and it gets that thumpy sensation bothers you that I was talking about earlier. Either way, that's another cool feature for the gaming side. And when it came to spatial audio, Razer has THX and it's available on PC only, and they say that it works with Windows Sonic on Xbox, which it does, I confirm that. It also works with Dolby Atmos on Xbox, so don't feel like even though it says compatible with Sonic, doesn't mean it's not compatible with Atmos, it just doesn't come with an Atmos license. You can always buy it and take advantage of that spatial audio side of things. On PlayStation, it works with Tempest 3D audio no problem. Even the Xbox version works with Tempest 3D audio. On PC, well, the world is your oyster. You can do DTS, you can do Atmos, of course THX. They all approach things differently. THX is a more exciting, crazy sound profile, like the bass is bassier, the treble is more trebly, if you will. And it sounds very wide and expansive, but it's really hard to pinpoint audio cues, in my opinion. So on the competitive side for esports, I would just prefer to go in stereo mode and rely on the game's engine for that. It is cool that it works, you know, as versatile as it does. And I think because of the nature of this already having a very wide, open sound imaging presentation, when you add THX or these other spatial audio things, it kind of takes it to another level. Not always for the better, but it's a very noticeable impact and change. All right, and that takes me to the end, at least for now. Like I said, I'll be doing some follow-up videos with this guy because as much as Razer gave me time to test this, I spent more time testing and playing on it than I did actually working on making the video in time for embargo, just to be honest. I'm a human being, and I got excited to play this. Here's the thing. Razer's choice in all of these features and how easy the controls are, having like, I have a very specific set of criteria for headsets that I review and perform well, but then there's only a few that stay out that I use frequently. And this is kind of challenged to be one of the front runners of what I use more often, partly because the ANC is great. So is the, you know, comfort and microphone, but the controls alone are such a huge thing. You know, when you're wearing this, we live day to day with things happening in our life. And if I have to quickly mute because someone's trying to talk to me and I don't want my friends to hear that, it's nice to quickly mute. If my game scenario changes and I'm talking to friends, but then there's explosions and a helicopter coming and I can't hear my friends, it's nice to just roll this down and switch to just hearing my friends and roll it back up to make the game louder if I'm trying to hear important things in the game. So controls are huge. The microphone performance has to be good enough where I don't sound terrible. Thankfully, this is one of the best mics. They reduced the clamp force and made the pads deeper, so comfort is improved as well. Onboard EQ, cross-platform support, active noise cancellation, simultaneous Bluetooth so I can consume content in between matches, or just if I don't know what I'm wanting to watch, I don't have to just decide what this is going to be connected to. It's just this insane amount of things that it does while also still being a very good headset on the competitive side and very expansive and fun for like racing and immersive games. I play a huge variety of games and there's very few headsets that can basically do everything, and they did this at $250. So while I don't think this is going to dethrone the Odyssey Maxwell on the sound quality side exclusively, or even the Astro A50X with some EQ there, this is a very competitive option in the market, regardless of price. If price was no limit, this is still a front runner of one of the best options you can pick up, which I think says a lot. So I'm going to be doing some in-depth comparisons down the road, so keep an eye on the channel. If you're new to it, don't forget to like and subscribe so you can catch those when they come out. But I really hope you found this helpful. I'm really excited for this one, and I hope everyone's experience was as positive as mine, because frankly, I've been loving this headset. So thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.